controls are in the back of the machinery shaft area. Keep clear of the radiators. Good news? Song tells me the security mechanicals booted up and killed a bunch of manties. That's the terminal. I have the parts in position on my side. Go ahead and cycle the droplet pumps. You don't need to kill the mantipillars, but I'd be mighty grateful if you did. I've got this thing about giant insects. Bad news. Diagnostic says their circuit boards are fused from the heat, so they're not too picky about who they kill next. Sneak past if you can. Shoot back if you need to. I can always fix them later. Done. The temperatures are dropping. Stop by once you've found your way out of there. Groundbreaker owes you thanks. And if you don't know what that means, just look for a command that says, cycle droplet pumps.
The board isn't helping and my resources are spread thin. If I don't get those radiators back online, Groundbreaker, everyone aboard, will be cooked alive. The back bays are on a lower deck, long abandoned and a haven for miscreants now. If you could find some way to solve this without violence, I'd prefer that. But more than anything, we need those parts. Captain, what can I do for you? Good. Once you've obtained the parts, we can proceed to the next phase of repairs. I'll take those. I need you to head through the large door at the far end of engineering. Take the elevator down into the machinery shaft. There's a terminal in the back. Activate it when I call over the ship's PA. And bring weapons. There's a slight mantipillar infestation. If every repair was a one-woman job, I wouldn't need an engineering team. As it is, my staff is busy keeping the station from melting down. The temperature should be dropping as we speak. I'll see to it the crew knows who kept us all from boiling alive. Those are... Wow. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Remarkable. How did you... Groundbreaker's radiators need replacement parts. They're dumping superheated air into my ship. A simple question with a complicated answer. One that I unfortunately don't have time to give. Not with our situation being so dire. It will be. Sooner or later. Reasonable, huh? That's the best news I've heard all day. We'd be grateful for your assistance. Those idiots are immune to reason. And they don't much care if the station melts to pieces. They're content to die last. I have. One of my engineers, plus a small security detail. They didn't come back. I can't afford to lose any Mardits on this job. No offense, but a freelancer like you is more dispensable. Oh, Parvati, how are you? How's the Unreliable treating you these days, Wildflower? Is there something you needed, Captain? I do, and I'm relieved that you've changed your mind. I know what it means to have a crew. If you ever felt like jumping ship, there's a home for you on Groundbreaker. I hope you're worthy of her loyalty, Captain. You can flip a switch for me, but you can't install these parts. Not quickly, at least. Not on the first try. Able though you've proven to be. Those repairs won't make themselves. More than a few. Less than a hive. Nothing you can't handle. We were salvaging parts from a ship. Turned out there were eggs inside. They got into the radiators, and here we are. My boards are returning to green. What a weight that is off my shoulders. I don't normally tolerate outsiders mucking about in my station's guts. But you're all right. We'd have to try to be sure. But I'll bet I could toss you over my shoulder and still lift an engine block. Do you make a habit of demeaning your crew? It's a wonder you have any left. There's something you two want to share? Parvati, is it? That's a lovely name. What can I do for you? I'd be happy to make the time, Parvati. You can ask me anything. I'll be waiting to hear from you, Parvati. If you've got time, I believe Edna has a comms issue that could use your attention. I've also authorized Doc and Furu to sell you our premium meds. I keep diligent records of station repairs, requisitions, and available assets. Just like my grandmother taught me, the station's radiators haven't changed since her time. And her records say the parts should be there. I trust them. You've returned, and in one piece. Color me impressed. Junlei is fine. According to my grandmother's old schematics, the parts we need should be in the back bays. Let's hope your confidence translates to action. I'm genuinely heartened to hear that. Thank you. My engineers have managed to keep the heat to livable levels, but all the fixes are temporary. This wound is bound to fester. Then you know it's a den of criminals and miscreants. Unfortunately, I'll need to ask you to return. Sorry, I forget not everyone knows this ship like I do. Hold on. There's something you should know before you go charging off. Good work. Felix Millstone. Nice to see you out of docking bay. Keeping your nose clean? Dr. Fenhill. I hope you've reconsidered my offer to stay on full-time. My crew are never short on dents and bruises. I already knew it'd be easier to teach an automech heart surgery than to change your mind. Fair travels, Ellie. We don't see a lot of competent surgeons on Groundbreaker. Dr. Fenhill is my on-again, off-again freelancer. I take it she'll be joining your crew full-time? Uh-huh. I'm glad to see you in a captain's custody. Just try not to steal any critical parts from my ship. I'd tell you to stay out of trouble, but I know you'll find it anyway. Whatever you do, just make sure I don't find out. If you ever decide to settle down, there's a home for you on Groundbreaker. See that you don't. Try and stop me. This ship gets awful cold when the radiator works, and Pavarti's warm company. Keep our girl in one piece and we won't have any problems, Captain. You'll know when I'm addressing you, Captain. Not a problem, Captain. Ask away. Now, if there's nothing else, there are other parts of the ship begging for my attention. Smell that fresh air? Almost better than being outside. What do you need, Captain? This whole deck smells like ass. Only gonna get worse if I don't get those radiators fixed. Junlei Tennyson. I'm captain around here, but chief to my friends. Hope you don't mind the formal introduction. Groundbreaker doesn't see many visitors. No, it isn't. It's a mess. But it's my mess, so I'll take the compliment. Just so we understand each other, I'm the final word on the ship. The Mardits, the crew, the engineers, their family. I hope there won't be any problems while you're visiting. At ease. Nice to see an outsider with some working brain cells. Ain't that always the way? Good. Don't go making trouble, and chances are you won't find any. That's how I like it here. I heard we had someone in impound. Wish I could help. I gave the bureaucrats a motive authority over freight traffic, and it rankles them good when I challenge it. Good for you. Hope you scared some sense into those bureaucrats giving you trouble. Not many around here can afford to say the same. Frustrating. Everything down to the circuit boards is past warranty, so I have the pleasure of making life or death decisions on a shoestring budget. Plus, there's no time to train my successor or document fixes in a way that anyone outside the family would understand. That won't be necessary. No offense, Parvati. Whenever you're through busting ass on a ship that works, you're welcome to bust ass on this bucket of bolts I call home. Sure is. The Tennysons came over on the Groundbreaker. My grandmother, Chief Gaying, kept it together during the crossing and until she died. I was promoted only recently, when my mom died. Then I took the leap from chief engineer to captain. You've got my attention. I gelded that thing years ago. Now it brews a stem that goes down stronger than Nan or Spank. Family recipe. You see any bite-sized Tennyson children running around? I didn't think so. The next captain won't have my heritage. I'll have to foster that talent from somewhere. It's only a question of when. I was doing some maintenance on the radiators and found this lying around. You look like you need it more than I do. Sorry about the heat. Here, drink up. No excuse for dehydration on my watch. The ship's groaning something fierce, but I can make time for you. What can I do for you, Captain? Speak your mind. Honestly, I could use the distraction. Only the board has access to new parts, and I won't let them swindle me into a corner. None. Every time I give in to the board, Groundbreaker loses its freedom. Soon there won't be anything left. I can't allow that. They want us to sweat, thinking that'll soften me up for a bad faith deal. If you'll excuse me, they can go fuck themselves. You must not have been here long. In Halcyon, new parts come by way of interstellar freighters from Earth, and the board monopolizes that kind of trade. That means I'd have to negotiate with the board. I've already given them the shops, the docking fees, and a damn embassy. Damn right. And while I'm captain of the Groundbreaker, it falls to me to preserve this ship's independence. Between us captains, I try to avoid sounding as bleak as you. Even if I'm feeling down, the crew doesn't need to hear it. Fatalism has got no home on Groundbreaker. We aim to weather the storm no matter how bad it gets. Mardits are descended from the original Marine detachment that crossed the void with Groundbreaker. I don't put their lives on the line if I can avoid it. Nice and pragmatic. Thanks for understanding. Cute. My grandmother taught me that one. I was afraid it had fallen out of style. Maybe you can see why I'm protective of Groundbreaker. This ship is family. It's got tinkerings and bypasses that only Tennysons know about. That means a lot coming from a fellow engineer. It was different knowing that I couldn't turn to anyone who could answer the tough questions for me. Appreciate it. There wasn't much that took me by surprise about the job, but the little things you never expect or think about, they add up over time. We're always thirsting for help. If you could find your way around this labyrinth of ducts and panels, we could work something out. I hope that was a joke, Captain. I really do. So what brings you to Groundbreaker? I'm curious, even though 9 times out of 10, the answer's just passing through. Statistics don't lie. We see a lot of the same faces coming and going, most of them board spies and corporate sprats. Makes it hard to trust outsiders. You seem different, so welcome aboard. Interesting. The powers that be paint an ugly picture of Monarch. Critters and such. Maybe someone in the promenade can get you the right weapon for the job. I'm sure there's plenty of both around these parts. Good. Let's try and keep it that way. You're right, I don't. The board is after 2 things, bits and power, and they only get it by sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. I like to think of myself as a nice person, but if that gaudy embassy of his was on fire, I might hold my breath a moment before activating the sprinkler system. No kidding, huh? That sure gives me some breathing room. The board wants control over Groundbreaker, and leeches like Udom Bedford will do anything to please their corporate masters. I placate them when I have something to offer, but I can also be a real hard-ass. It'd be a joy if I could kick out the corporate merchants and reclaim the docking fees in my lifetime. Too much of Groundbreaker's income is flowing in the wrong direction. I'd like to see that change. Don't sell yourself short. It doesn't take a seasoned pro to tinker on Groundbreaker. Just someone who knows how a ship ought to feel. Thanks for pulling Ensign Taylor out of a bad situation. Wish I could say that never happened before, but locks and plumbing are always the first to break down. He spoke highly of you. It'd be nice if everyone aboard Groundbreaker was that charitable. I'm grateful, but the next time you want to shake down one of my engineers for bits, we might have a problem. For now, you get a pass. You're smart to keep an engineer on staff, Captain. In my experience, all the good techs steer clear of freelance work. Captain, thank you for welcoming me aboard your ship. I could see why Parvati seems so happy here. You've got a capable crew. That speaks well of your leadership. Some of the cable routing in here is unique. I appreciate you making the time for this. Joy can be hard found and fought for in this colony. I'm trusting you to keep Parvati safe. She means the stars to me. My father and I were often at loggerheads. He had notions of how the station should be run, and I had others. What did he say to that? Thank you. He didn't scold you for talking back to him? I wish I could have met him. Anyone who helped shape you must have been a special person. She passed when I was small. Taught me how to change a fuse on her deathbed. Even sick, she was patient with me. He was fond of saying, "You think Groundbreaker pays for itself? Someone's got to cover the bills." When I chafed against his deference to the board, he was, and he was right to be. Didn't mean I had to like it. She kept exhaustive journals of my childhood, my father said. Like she was A/B testing child-rearing. Exacting is a kind way to put it. Inflexible, my father would have said. Bull-headed. Cold.
Forward! For Groundbreaker! The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardats! The captain did right by us once. Now it's our turn.